Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to our daily devotional. My name is Mark, and I'm so glad that you've taken the time to be with us. So we are currently working through the Gospel of John, the 21 chapters, one day at a time. And today is John chapter 11. If you haven't already done so, I would encourage you to take some time to read through this amazing chapter. I do believe that God wants to speak profoundly into your heart. So John chapter 11. This chapter contains one of the most amazing stories. It's the story of when Jesus raises Lazarus, a good friend of his, from the dead. Now, Lazarus was the friend, or the brother, in fact, of Mary and Martha, and they were good friends with Jesus. And Lazarus grew sick. He wasn't well. And the two sisters sent word to Jesus to say that your friend Lazarus is sick, you need to come. Knowing, expecting, believing that if Jesus steps into their world, their space, the space of pain, that he would sort everything out. Well, Jesus stays where he is for a few more days, continues to minister, and then I think about 3 or 4 days later, he decides, guys, it's time to go and wake Lazarus up, go and raise him from the dead. They go back to the town, the village where he was, and as you can imagine, they step into a place of grief and pain and mourning at the loss of their brother. But Jesus says, let's go to the tomb, and they go to the tomb, the place where he was buried. And he asks the people to roll away the stone. And as he does so, he prays. And then he speaks profoundly and powerfully into the tomb these words, Lazarus, come forth. He awakens Lazarus from the dead. He speaks a word of life into death, a word of light into darkness. And would you believe it? Lazarus, this man who's been dead for 4 days, comes back to life. He comes out of the tomb. But what's fascinating is that not only did Jesus awaken him from the dead, when Lazarus came out of the tomb, he was still bound by the grave clothes that had been put on his body in order to be buried. And he comes out of the tomb, he's alive, but he's still bound. And Jesus turns to those around him and says this, untie this man and set him free. You know, when I read that story, it reminded me of what God does when he steps into our lives. Jesus came not to just give us a ticket to heaven. Jesus came to awaken our hearts to the beauty of who he is and what he's done. But Jesus came not only to do that, he came to set us free. He came to untie us. And so today, I believe, as we spend time with him, as we reflect on this story, I believe that God wants to step into our world, even the darkest places of our lives, and bring life to places of death. He wants to awaken our hearts. But more than that, I believe that God wants to bring freedom to your life. He wants to untie us from that which has bound us. So maybe today we're bound by fear. Maybe we're bound by anxiety, uncertainty about the future. Perhaps we're bound by sin. Perhaps we're bound by habits and addictions that are holding us back. Today, my friend, is your day of freedom, that God wants to come and unravel you, untie you, and free you to live the life that he called you to live. So I encourage you today, spend some time with him. Let him step into your world and let him awaken your heart, but let him bring freedom to your life. So have a great day, everybody, and we hope to see you tomorrow in John chapter 12. Thank you for joining us.